Just thought I'd get back to my XL500s wiring, and the previous owner has done quite a bit of bodging inside here, and effectively the switch on the handlebar, which controls the parking lights and high, has been bypassed. So I've corrected all the wiring inside here, but the issue I've got is that actually inside the actual switch, which is taken apart and just put there, I've desoldered the wires off these contact pins, but I actually think the switch is faulty because I haven't got enough contact states. Effectively, when it's in this position, these two contacts are made. When we move it to the next position, these two contacts are made, and when we move it to the last position, this and these contacts are made. But I believe there should be another contact point there and two more pins there, because we just haven't got enough contact states to separate the magneto feed, or the alternator feed, sorry, and the general battery feed to the lights. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this apart and see if I can remake this plate and remake these contacts. That's probably about the best option I've got to keep it sort of original. But obviously I've desoldered all these wires and I'll sort those out at some point. But the contact states are, we should have parking and just your lights on, your main lights on, and then on the opposite handlebar switch it controls the high and low beam. But on these two contacts, I believe this is probably where it runs off the alternator, so it's separated from the battery feed to the lights. So I'm going to take this apart and we'll have a look at it and see if we can find out if we can remake this plate and remake these contacts. It's just a single screw holding it in. Just see if we can get that screw out. There we go, single screw. There we go, I think we've got it there. Let's just push it forward. I think these wires are still trapping it slightly. There we go. I'm trying not to fall apart. There is a ball bearing in there, I believe, and a small spring. And that's the switch released. I've took the switch out, got it somewhere a little bit more, and there's not a lot to it really. Basically, I mean, it's just, I don't know if you can see those contacts inside there, they get make and break by a small brass strip inside there, and the same on this back contact. And if I just slide it across slightly, there you can see the two contacts, and we can take those out. Those are just two, like, they look like brass staples, and there's a spring as well, which is holding this little black plate in place. And there's a ball bearing down there, so we don't want to lose any of that. We might have to come in through the back. There we go. And a small ball bearing. So those are your two, those are the contacts. There's a spring that just puts pressure on the ball bearing. And we're just simply making contact on these plates here. Now I think what I've got to do if I'm going to remake this is to replicate these contacts into these two locations here, and there is a spring clip holding the whole thing together. Let's see if we can just getting that off. Hopefully it won't go flying everywhere. Okay, so we've got that off. Okay, that with the other items. There you go. And hopefully we can now dismantle this thing and give it a clean. and look at replacing. Hopefully that pin will push out. A little bit of corrosion on there. And we need to remake this. Okay, that was the original. It's got a snap in it, a break in it there. Probably could have repaired it to be honest looking at it, but that's the piece I've made. Now, I have actually put a slight slot there because I want a little bit of adjustment because I'm not sure of the exact spacing. But that's been cut and filed just out of an old piece of printed circuit board. So that should do the job. These rivets are the issue at the moment. I've found a source on Amazon which hopefully should be here later today. We'll get this put together and hopefully that should do the job then. And I can get the lights working back again on the XL500. But basically to cut that out, I just used a hacksaw to cut out the material roughly. So just cut a small piece out of this material and then just some files and just fold it to shape. It's a pretty good match. I've tried it actually in the unit, and the hardest part is probably lining up with the holes. But fortunately, having the original, I was able to use it as a template. So I'll get these put in as soon as they arrive, and we can give it a test then. Well, these brass pins have come here. Well, problem is with them is the head is about 4mm. You can see that or not. It's a little bit too big. Well, I think to turn those brass parts down, I'm going to use the lathe. I've got a small miniature lathe there. If you haven't got a small lathe, you could just put it in the drill, hold it upright and just put a file against it and file it. But I've got the lathe, so I'll try and show you doing it. It won't be the easiest thing to do, but we'll have a go. And that's the result. There's a little bit of burr on there, but I can just clean that up. Well, hopefully that should now measure 3.1, that's close enough. This is the circuit diagram for the XL500s. It's a 1980 model. This is the European version. And the diagram shows basically the light engine stop switch and the horn dimmer and the priority for whether you want high or low beam. And I had, as you say, I showed you the issue I had. Somebody rewired it all. So what I've done is I've basically done a wiring diagram, taking out everything all but the lighting circuit. So if we have a quick look at this lighting circuit, from the alternator down here, we've got this white wire with a yellow stripe, and we trace that through and it brings us up onto the C1 contact of the lighting switch. So that'll be an AC feed from the actual alternator. From the voltage regulator rectifier, that we've got a black feed which comes from the ignition switch, which is basically the battery voltage regulated by this regulator, and again that feeds onto the same switch contact and it comes onto HO. The output from HL, which is the high-low, is the AC feed from C1 when the switch is in the the high position, and that feeds down onto this dimmer switch here. This dimmer switch, obviously you can switch to high or to low, and that just feeds this main bulb, whether you want high beam or low beam. And it is really that simple, really, to be honest. The rest of the contacts here, there's a brown wire which again comes from the black which is the feed from the rectifier regulator or battery, just feeds the dashboard lights. So in the park position or the high position on this switch here, it will bring on these dashboard lights, and the general tail light runs off the battery, the indicators run off the battery. I've taken all that out of the circuit, it's not needed to show you what's going on here. And the contacts that we needed to make sure was when the lighting switch was in the off position, no contacts were made. Park, we needed H and TL, and high H and TL and H and CL, but obviously not joined because this is the AC feed on the HL and C1. Hope that sort of makes some sort of sense to you. And from there then obviously I've had to then trace out the wires and connect them into the right places and rebuild this switch. Now I've turned these pins down. They're a really good match for the original. They're slightly a little bit longer, probably a millimetre or so. I may need to just shave the top off on that slightly. They're just a little bit longer I think on the length, but I've turned the heads down and they do fit into not this board but the other board, which I've left somewhere else. But you get the idea. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all these new pins into there. I'll probably hold it initially. I'll put some super glue on there just to hold them all in place. Here I'm going to use a little bit of resin just to hold that once I've established its correct position when I put that one in. But yeah, the new pins, they look quite good once they're in there. They're dropping quite nice and about the same height, so there's not much difference in the height of them. The body length, as you can see, is a little bit longer, but hopefully I can just trim that down or file it if it's too long. I don't want it touching the handlebars. But I'm just going to put the switch back together and then I'll show you once it's all fully assembled back into the bike. Well, I'll put the switch back together and all I've got to do now is solder the wires up, and I'll show you the pin configuration and the contacts that you need to make. But effectively you need to link pins 1 to 3 and then just solder the other 4 wires on. I probably won't be able to do that on camera because it's quite tight in here. I've soldered the wire link in on 1 and 3, and now I've just got to tidy up these wires and connect these down to these pins. We've got all the wires soldered in. Tried to get as tidy as I could. We put the link between 1 and 3, and I've tested all the switches and it all seems to work fine now. So that would seem to be the correct wiring. So we've got the brown and white, brown with white stripe on 1. We're linking 1 to 3. The black wire, which is from the switch ignition and the voltage regulator, is onto pin 2. The yellow-white wire, or white-yellow, which is the feed from the alternator, I've put on pin 5, and the output to the lights, which goes to the high-low switch, is on pin 6, which is the blue with the white stripe. Just as a quick test, if we put the ignition on, actually I'll put one of these bulbs out so we can actually see. These are the dash bulbs. Put the ignition on and we switch it to the P position. We get a bulb, and we should get the same now when we switch to the high position. So that's showing that's working fine, and the tail light's working, everything else working. It's all running off the battery, that is. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that, but I can't test the main bulb yet because I haven't got the engine started yet. So, but I've traced the wiring through all the way back down through the alternator as regards as resistance. I will put a voltmeter on it and see what sort of AC we've got. Contemplating doing putting a 6-volt regulator on there to convert the AC to DC, but that's a job for another day. But it seems to be working anyway, so I've got to tighten that screw down a little bit. There's a little bit of a dicky contact there. I think one of those pins isn't quite making contact, so I just need to push down on those. Maybe put a bit of silicone on there or something once I've got them locked in place. But other than that, it seems to be working fine. Well, I hope that helps a little bit. I've traced the wiring through, as I say, with the meter, and checked the high and low switch are both working from when that's switched into the high point, and that's both working, so we've got continuity through to the low beam and the high beam on these two wires here.